Microphones. Welcome back, everybody, to Indian Rider Radio After Hours. I'm Curtis Sawyer, live from the Tap Performance Studios tonight. So happy to have you guys along. It has been so exciting building up to this show this week. So we're going to give you a few minutes to let you get settled in. Don't forget your comments and your questions. We're going to have the comments active throughout the evening. First, as you know, our special guest tonight from Lloyd's Garage and Indian Motorcycle Charlotte, the one and only Lloyd Greer. So Ridingfish and I are excited to have him as a guest. We've got your questions coming up, and we're anxious to see you and have you as be part of our show tonight. So, got a few housekeeping items to take care of. We'll get those dialed in here momentarily. And as we do, I'm going to bring in my one, my only, my man right here. This is Ridingfish. How are you, man? Oh, I got your microphone clicked off. I'm sorry. There you go. Start over again.
I said, man, I am great.
Yeah, you can rewind now.
Yeah, and so it's just been, I've been pumped for this all day, and I've talked to you a few times throughout the day, and I dropped my video today. A lot of things happening today.
Well,
so
yeah, we have been busy. We've had a lot of excitement going on, and you know what? This has been a big week, though. All week long, there has been something happening. Whether it was the release of the Challenger Stage Scoop Cam Kit, whether it was King of the Baggers and what came out with them. And then, of course, we kicked off a variety of things with the podcast, and you dropped a brand new video. In fact, we pretty much wrapped up the real-time test ride with your most recent 900-mile video.
Well, no, remember I dropped one today with the big announcement that I bought an FTR.
Yes, you did.
Yeah. I had to get out the FTR shirt. Oh, here at this side.
You look sharp.
Yeah.
You look good.
Yeah.
You look good.
So no, I'm super pumped about today. I'm on another level to talk to Lloyd. You know, whenever you get to talk to a genius, you always make a note in your book.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You can't go wrong there. So what else we got? Like I said, we wrapped up the real-time test ride.
Yep.
That 900-mile video of yours is also posted on the website at IndianRiderRadio.com, or check him out on YouTube. You know, Ridingfish. You follow his page. Check him out. And then today, FDR build, and you've got Bison Thunder motorcycle dialed in with that.
Oh man, I gotta thank Bison Thunder right off the bat. I told them I'm going to buy an FTR, and do they want to help me build it? And we'll see what we can do. My goal is to make it a little bit more dirt trail bike path ready, right? Get off the asphalt. I have the perfect asphalt bike. So for long rides. So yeah, my hope is to get it on the dirt and play on some trails possibly. But you know, I have absolute zero experience. So yeah.
Well, that's the whole point though. Get out there and try it. See what's going on. enjoy.
Yeah.
This is great because you have Bison Thunder Motorcycle dialed in with you guys, and you be able to share the experience with the dealership, get the bike build, and it was already a pretty massive motorcycle. The guy that had it before was the parts guy there at the dealership. Yes.
Yeah, Brian, he's the parts manager. I guess I'm pretty sure that's his title. He had done a lot of the stuff to it that I probably would have done anyway.
Okay.
He has a Challenger. He went the superbike direction. So it's exciting. It's exciting to work with these guys and work with Doug and Troy and Jeff and Brian. I mean, he's pretty smart guy. So yeah, dude, I'm on another level of hype today. We got to be careful. We have to be careful.
We're going to be careful because we got a lot of ground to cover, and I don't want you guys getting off in the ditch someplace. Okay, so we're going to get this done today. But guys, we've got a lot going on with Indian Rider Radio with the podcast. Obviously, Fish is going to have a lot going on with his videos. I want you to drop by IndianRiderRadio.com, check out a couple of different things. First, as I mentioned, he wraps up the real-time test ride. Then there is information here about the after-hours show and how you can stay connected with it. And our good friend Alligator Bob. Alligator Bob wants to fix your seat. Alligator Bob Martin is involved with the Lilith Challenger. You've seen a lot of his exotic work. And Fish, I know you're envious of that seat.
I started looking at them too, and I'm like, geez, I really liked my seat. Now I see some of my options.
Until you don't, yeah. And one of those options is Alligator Bob's, and he does a thing called the Pro Pad, which is it improves comfort and longevity in the seat. And the beauty of it is, he says, he can install it in basically a day. It takes about 5 hours to do, and have your seat back to you in no time. So we have a place for you to enter and win the opportunity to get your seat upgraded by none other than the one Alligator Bob Martin. So that's on our website at IndianRiderRadio.com.
Am I allowed to sign up for that?
Yeah, you won't win.
Okay, well, I'm signing up anyway, in case nobody else does.
I mean, if you sign up and enter, that's great. I think I got a picture of your bike there anyway, I think. So congratulations, you're already entered.
Oh, all right, fine. All right, I guess that's good enough.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, we're excited to have you along tonight, too. And already so many. We got Misty drop by and say hi. Whit is with us. Hi, Whit. Mark is there. And some of these other guys. One of these gentlemen here was this one. Yeah. Benoit. He's from Montreal. Glad to have him along tonight.
Big Challenger guy.
Yeah. Oh, big Challenger guy. You're familiar.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, even better. Good. See, this is what happens when you live in a room that looks like this all day. Get out and see people. Don't learn anything. But this was a big week, dude. And I mean, FTR aside, and we're going to talk a lot about that going forward. There was so much to discuss with that, not just with the build, but the bike itself, because that's a motorcycle that's finding its feet again, and it's really starting to pick up an audience around the world. Riders are finding out here in the U.S., especially, that it offers itself as an amazing platform to customize and do a lot of different things with. So I think you're onto something. I think it's going to be cool.
Yeah, I often said that bike, it kind of gets a bad rap because it's pretty good at everything.
Yeah.
And not great maybe at anything. At least that nobody's told you what it's going to be great at.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Also true.
Yeah. So just Ben, got you, Ben.
And there you go. Great minds. What? Bang, bang.
There we go.
All right. So, hey, this is an exciting week. Also, not just our cam kits, but again, King of the Baggers. Now 5 races, bro.
Oh, dude. I mean,
yeah.
So we'll have to ask Lloyd about this, but there was a thing that got thrown up on some of the forums saying, should there be a Lloyd Challenger? Or no, I think you didn't even say Challenger. I think just a Lloyd
entry. Yeah.
An entry. Yeah.
It might have been his own counterpart, Tim Sutherland, stirring the pot. We don't know. I'm just pointing fingers.
I already signed up as their rider.
Did you sign up?
Yeah, right around the same time I sent that entry for Bob's Alligator.
Yeah, when did you get your AMA card? I'm just checking. I'm looking.
I have a card.
Right.
Some cards I've lost. Some cards
it's from the Minnesota Highway Patrol, but that's different. You're not. What's the matter with you, man? Oh, I'm telling you, it's been a lot of fun getting this week together because maybe, and I'm still kind of lining this out. I know that he's on board, and we're just trying to get the scheduling taken care of. Yeah. But Dan Peterson. Now, Dan is he is a product line sales manager with Polaris, who was involved with the cam kits for Indian. And we're going to talk with him a little bit about those probably in the next few days, have him on the show.
Okay.
Clockworks, we've reached out to them. They're going to be guests on the show here soon. We're going to find out more about what they got cooking on for 20 and 21. And yeah, tons of things going on.
Yeah, that's awesome. Hey, you know what? Valentine's Day is coming up.
Indeed, it does. Yeah, it's coming up very soon.
Did you get Deborah anything?
Actually, the guy who's with us tonight is where it's coming from. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, Thurber Jewelers, I'll be going there too. So
look, the beauty of this is, see, okay, guys, where are you? Where's our guys? You know that Valentine's Day is coming, and you could get her another Indian T-shirt. That'd be great. We don't mind. Or you could go to the mall and you could snatch something up that she sees 30 of in the next 25 days. Okay. Or you can pick up the phone or go online and connect with thurberjewelers.com and find out that, oh, hey, you can order it. It gets there fast. Great selection, wonderful stuff. And it's not something she's going to see the next day.
That's right.
But
that is very right.
Right. But
and by the way, it's owned and operated by a bunch of motorcyclists. Boom.
Boom. Enough said.
Boom. Enough said.
All right. Okay. So we have the shocking reveal in your new video.
Yeah.
Okay, and the shocking reveal is
I bought an FTR, and it was the one I test rode 6 months earlier. No, well, it's so funny because 6 months before it, so I test rode. Here's the story: I test rode it in June on June 1st. I left on June 2nd on my trip.
Okay,
and one thing led to another. That got put on the backside for 6 months, and so when it came available. Not only does it only have 2,000 miles, but I put 200 of them on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'll buy that one.
Okay, sure.
So yeah, so that's the big reveal. But if you haven't seen the video, go watch it.
Right. Well, I think you impressed Whit. I think she's excited about that for you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Hey Whit, so I'm gonna make it dirt ready. I want to find some gravel roads in Wisconsin, Minnesota, northern Minnesota, whatever, that I can go down and go check out and go see something that I can't see on a Challenger. I need to expand my horizon.
Excellent. Well, we are going to take a short break. We're going to come right back and we're going to have you queued up with your questions and comments and anything you got as we kick it off with Lloyd Greer from Lloyd's Garage and Indian Motorcycle Charlotte. Does it get any better than that? I doubt it.
The man, the myth, the legend coming up next.
That's him. Oh. Why is my machine stopped? It's just
I don't know. Try to do it again. The man, the myth, the legend.
Try this. All right, guys, we are back, and I'm so glad you're dropping in. So many guys coming in and joining us here in the last couple of minutes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, it's a bunch of you guys. So here we go. Ridingfish and I. It is Indian Rider Radio After Hours, and as promised, we're going to bring you the one, the only, the guy who knows what we got to talk about tonight. Challenger Performance There's Lloyd Greer, Lloyd's Garage. Hey, Lloyd, how the heck are you, my
He's
friend?
muted.
Going, well, you make me sound good.
Yeah, well, you are good. I mean, okay, this has been the week, right? Now, I brought this up when we were still off mic, but this has been almost a year to the day when you released a video that really was all about Challenger and how the potential this bike had. And now here we are a year later. What do you think? Where are we at?
Where's the time go?
Right?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I think that's what happens when you are just, shoulders deep in a motor trying to figure things out.
Well, that and trying to run 3 businesses and build a building and finish a house and
Right. All
raise
of that.
2 teenagers and all the others. Yeah.
Well, yeah, you need a 27-hour day like the rest of us.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah.
Well, let's start in Sturgis. This is really exciting. And you guys were on the show and talked a little bit about it. But this is not just we're going to drop our tent for the week. This is a building and an experience and Lloyd's Garage.
Yes, absolutely. Me and Tim have been talking about this for years, and probably 5 or 6 years anyway.
Yeah.
Even before we, bought the Charlotte store, and we always wanted a place, a destination to have people come and just hang out with everything, and. Yeah. One of our problems was, we looked at property but the big thing is, of course, you need a liquor license. And, if you want people to hang out long, you need to supply some liquor. And,
sure.
Of course, in Sturgis, that's the hard part because everybody's got that wrapped up. So when we approached Woody at the Buffalo Chip, I mean, they were super ecstatic. They were all over it. I mean, it was like open arms. Hey guys, let's do this. And it was great. So,
well, this sounds like something that, and you guys would probably kicking it around 5-6 years, you say, but it's overdue because we really, Indian and Victory enthusiasts, really haven't had a place there in Sturgis that was ours.
Exactly. Or really any other rally too. I mean, Sturgis is of course the Mecca, but I agree. Harley customers or clients have got all kinds of places that they can go. And we want to create this one and grow it. It's going to start off really good and it's just going to get better and better over the years. We're already getting contacted from vendors and manufacturers wanting to join in with us. So I think it's starting off really great.
So speaking of which, go ahead, Fish.
I was just gonna say, so in the Buffalo Chip, are you gonna have like a full-on thing where you're gonna be doing like big bore kits? I know you're turning them fast, but are you just mainly doing tuning or
no?
What is your foresight for that?
Anything imaginable. I mean, there's certain big board kits that we can do. When it's an older bike and we have to get into case boring, we're not going to be able to do that at the Chip. Yeah. But, the new bikes, we can throw 126 on them. That's easy enough. Superchargers, tuning, cams, intakes, exhaust, fat tire kits, audio, windshields. That we want to do it all.
Dude, I want to stop something. You could easily, I know you're a part owner in the Indian Motorcycle Charlotte, right?
Yep.
Is that right? Yeah. You easily could have just piggyback off Indian Motorcycle Company with the accessories they have and everything. But dude, the aftermarket stuff that you bring to the table that none of us get a chance to do, that gives us the opportunity to customize our motorcycles and make it how I want it,
Right.
Maybe I want the big wheel or maybe I want the motor or whatever, And so I just got to say thank you as a customer. Seriously, thank you for the things that you bring, man, because a lot of us, I promise, a lot of us buy the bikes that we have for the opportunity to customize them with your products, said products.
Oh, so, I agree 100%, and hey, I always say I've got the best job in the world, I get to design, develop, manufacture high performance parts and do cool stuff and build bikes and write them off on taxes. And, how can you get any better than that?
When you added the taxes part, you pretty much hit the American dream lottery, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Here's another benefit to it. My wife gives me full full tilt on whatever I want to buy and do. So I don't have that wrapped around my neck either. So yes, you can be jealous.
No.
Well, nothing wrong with that. We can be a little bit jealous, but let's clarify for everybody too, because this is not just, there's Lloyd's Garage, obviously, and that is the high tech, the performance stuff, but then the 1901 custom line, that is kind of Tim's baby, and a variety of other things that you guys are doing with Arnott and others to create these B4 bikes.
Yes.
And we're going to talk a little bit about those too. They are incredible, because you did tell me on the show that you were going to dive back into, or have started to dive back into, the 116 to some degree.
Yes, we have. Yep.
Okay.
There's been a over my head thing. I guess it's a black cloud where we just have not been able to get the horsepower expectations that I've been looking for. And I know it's there, we just got to hit the right combination and go for it. But I also want to add to Fish's comment about the aftermarket. I believe the strong aftermarket is definitely what keeps and sells bikes, and gives the owners their own ability to individualize their bikes and products. And that's one of the reasons I think Sturgis is going to be so successful for us, is because we're going to give them that option to personalize their bikes. Right. Even though their bike is great from the factory, you got to make it yours.
I've told Curtis this. You kind of picked a really big bone to try to chew on, because Indian puts out such great product. It's not like other brands where they put out garbage product knowing people are just going to go aftermarket and improve them anyway. And so I buy a Challenger and you're like, holy crap, I have to make something better than what came out, for example, Challenger or even one of the Thunderstroke motor platforms. You have to pick up your game too, so it's not like you're dumping anything stock and just picking up what Lloyd has. You have to produce some good quality stuff. So, yeah,
absolutely. And that's one thing about Polaris in general. Polaris motorcycles, whether it was Victory or Indian, I mean, they did a great job. And the refinement on the Indian itself is even better than it was on the Victory. And I think the aftermarket, it did take a hit on the aftermarket. A little bit, I believe, because they do make a really good product. Victory, we sold tons of primary covers and cam covers, because really, I mean, there was beer cans on there for product. And the Indian, really, we don't get very many people asking for it, for that type of product. So in stock form, it is really good. But hey, I'm always willing to make them better.
Yeah.
So when you made this union between you and Tim, I mean, yours was the performance and kind of the technology side, the nuts and bolts, if you will. Tim, kind of the dealer creator. How did you envision that?
It makes them pretty. I make them fast. Together, we're pretty fast.
Or fast pretty, which is another whole thing.
Yeah, said it out loud in front of the internet and everything. So let's dive in then where we are. Okay, what I know is that the Stage 2 cam kit, as pitched to us through Indian Motorcycles thus far, is a 10% horsepower gain that was more or less derived pretty much out of the King of the Baggers and the research that S&S did. Is that accurate?
I would probably say not, because I mean, that cam was probably developed long before the King of the Baggers.
Okay.
So, I would think that, and so 10% of 122 would be, 12.2.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, that's a good bump.
But there's a but.
But there's always better. I mean, there's a box. Right. And then there's my world. I'm not confined to the box. So, Indian Polaris Motorcycles, Polaris Engineering, phenomenal guys. I know a lot of the engineers, and they're just a great group of people to work with and deal with. And, it's just like everything else. They have to stick to their constraints. And unfortunately, I don't have any right now. So, we can explore further options,
Right.
for the motorcycles. So, yeah, and we've unfortunately, due to COVID, COVID's definitely kicked a lot of stuff in the butt, and put us way behind schedule on a lot of stuff, and not so much us, but our vendors. Some of our vendors got hit really hard, and literally, we got pushed 10 months behind. So,
Yeah, and speaking of which, that is a problem that Indian makes no bones about now. They are chronicling that they have extended back orders and some things being pushed out April, May, June, July.
absolutely.
That's going to hurt. I mean, that's going to hurt. It is. Does that create, though, an urgency in the aftermarket to get something out there?
Well, I think one thing it does is it creates demand for the product, which I think is a really good thing. It's something that even though Indian has sold a lot of bikes, it hasn't gone to the point where showrooms were empty. And literally at the beginning of December, we were starting to get a little scared in Charlotte. I mean, our showroom was getting very empty.
Right.
So that's a good thing. So it does. It does have its good parts and its bad parts, but as far as aftermarket's concerned, in general, for us, or for me, producing performance parts, and I don't know if we can relate it to the motorcycle or the consumer, but the Indian consumer isn't as big a performance person as, say, previous Victory guys.
Okay.
Now, Challenger, I believe, is going to be the game changer for that scenario. So, I wish I'd had product now, but we've run into some fronts and to some issues, and by all means, I don't ever want to jeopardize Indian's ability to produce product and get their product to the marketplace first, and give their customers the ability to purchase from them first. That's always been a good working relationship that has been garnered over the years. So,
and then speaking along those lines, then, and I know that Fish was going to talk about this at some point, and he's got a whole arsenal of questions for you, but I'm going to start with this one. Is this cam kit that is out now? One, it allows obviously the aftermarket to come out and move forward.
mm-hmm.
But it also does provide Indian the ability now in their dealerships to say, this is what we did. You can now add it at the dealer, whatever, have that product out there. And I've even heard it referred to in dealerships working. There was accessory kits that didn't matter if it was Chevrolet, Ford, Indian, Harley Davidson, they would sell these kits, right? And, you deck one out on the ground and suddenly all of a sudden it was a different unique bike. Is that kind of the leverage that Indian needs and wants? And is that enough for them?
It's hard to say. In my personal opinion, and of course, sometimes I end up being more brutally honest than I should be at times. But in the Challenger world, we have a high performance bike that now makes it difficult to put cams in. Right. So,
yeah, let me refresh your memory. You mentioned a 2-piece cam cover in that video.
It should, yeah. I think it should have been a 2-piece valve cover. Matter of fact, I think this is how me and Fred had met, because I had made a comment on one of his videos, and subsequently, we went back and forth and replying, and I think that's how initially we got introduced to each other.
Yeah, I said maybe we don't have you kept saying we have to pull the motor all the way out. And so I got one of the technicians and he said, you might be able to just pull the radiator and like tip it forward. And what I said was, hey, Lloyd, if you're watching, let's hope that this guy's right and you're wrong, because tipping it forward sounds a lot easier than pulling a motor completely out of a bike.
And I mean, you don't have to necessarily pull it out to the point where you got to put it on the bench, but you do have to drop it down.
Yeah. So now that you've done it a couple of times, what would you say the actual job is for you to take it out, put different cams in and drop it, put it back in? Would you have an idea?
Well, yes, we do. Matter of fact, I've got to make some more tooling. One of the things that we always do is, look at the job, do it a couple times, and then start producing product to make it easier, more efficient.
Oh,
and truthfully, and then offer everything we know to other dealers to make sure that they can do it efficiently too. And it's ironic that some just don't want to buy into that, but nonetheless. So I see in the future us hopefully getting the cam job down into the sub 4 hour level.
Wow.
Can we just call Indian and tell them, hey, let's just change these valve covers. Let's just make it a little easier.
Sure. Why don't you call them? Sure. Hey, you guys you've got great influence.
Right.
I mean, heck.
We have influence. Oh my gosh, somebody's been feeding him a lot of it, isn't they? I'm telling you what. Well, what I know is this: is that if you look around the Facebook pages, the groups, the Challenger owners that are out there talking right now, they were absolutely thrilled to get a 10% horsepower bump. They were absolutely thrilled that it was maybe something that it was derived from the track time or whatever. But then floored when some dealers are saying at 150, 175 an hour in the shop, it's an 8 to 10 hour job.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, I think those dealers should call us. Get on our remote tuning program. We offer free training, we have we could do cams or valve springs on air cooled motors in just over 3 hours. I mean, it's just, it's only a benefit to the consumer for dealers to all work together. And I'm not saying that I have all the answers, but hey, let's all get together and put our heads and storm up some really good ideas, together. Sure. But as far as the motor side of it is, I'd like to think that we're probably a little bit more of ahead of the game than most. So, efficiency is it. I mean, when we go to Sturgis this year, is it going to be lucrative for us to do 8-hour cam jobs?
Right.
No.
Right.
No. Yeah. Or matter of fact, are people going to spend the money, 8 hours of labor plus cams, plus fluids, plus gaskets to get a 10% gain?
Right. Well, and that's but see, that's the bone that everybody's chewing on in the Facebook groups and on the forums. And that will always take its own temperature. It'll find its own bottom.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
But let's talk about the motorcycle, because you had to be very intimate with this bike as you develop these things and learn more about it, especially knowing what you knew a year ago when you posted that video.
Oh, absolutely. And I always say, every time I ride one of my bikes, I conjure up ideas. And, that's where new product gets developed. And I ride it. I beat the crap out of my bikes. I make sure they're not going to break, because if I can't break them, hopefully you can't break them.
Right.
So, so I'm an idiot. I never, everybody wants me to lead the pack, and I'm like, no, you don't want me leading. I'm better off being paced.
Right. Sure. Yeah.
I know that. I know. I think the three of us should ride one day. That'd be.
Yeah, we're gonna run up to the cliff. Let's all go together. Come on.
Yeah, you know what? I think that we need to get a good spring ride together. Absolutely.
No I'm down.
No question.
I am 100% down. Hey, I know you guys announced you got some new mufflers, right?
Yes, we do. Coming out. Yep.
Just Thunderstroke motor, or like tell me a little bit more about them, because.
So Thunderstroke also fits Challenger. They're both the same muffler.
Okay.
So, yep. So long story short, we did have slip-ons a few years back, and we had some severe vendor issues in the manufacturing and on their side, and therefore I pulled out. So, exhaust is that black magic thing where if you really want it to work, it's going to cost you money. Yeah. And I really want it to work. So, and not only performance wise, but the sound and the appearance. And I always say that in exhaust systems, I've been preaching this for years, performance, appearance, and sound. Pick 2 out of 3 and be happy. And I think that, what I always try is for 3 out of 3, and granted, based on personal preference, sometimes we hit it, sometimes we don't. Yeah. But performance is always on my mind when we're doing something. And, I finally found a company willing to jump on board with us and go the right direction. So
that's good. Well,
here's, you're working on cams. It's been rumored that you're working on cams for the Indian Challenger. Mm-hmm. And I know that you have really nice 126 drop-in big bore kits that are, you change, like you pull out the cylinder or something and you kind of put in a different cylinder, right? Is that something like that?
Yeah. Cylinder.
Is it capable of doing something like that in the way future for the Challenger?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, is it the same setup where it could be a big bore swap fairly easy?
A big bore swap, but not fairly easy.
Not fairly easy. Okay. Fair enough.
Anytime you add antifreeze in the mix, you always add a different element.
Well, right. And game makes
just to let you know, we actually had or have a couple of grinds for Challenger. Mm-hmm. One of our biggest issues now is our programming. So yes, we can see gains. Yes, we can see sizable gains, but no, I'm not happy with putting something out that doesn't have the full package. And we really need to wrap up our programming to take advantage of that package. So
that makes sense. And that programming, now we talked with Jason DeMent from the Brave Wolf Customs and the Challenger, and he was talking about how vital it is for him to be out on, well, he's going to be the guinea pig. He's going to be the first guy. He's going to get in line. He's going to get it tuned, and he's going to see if it blows up. That's what he said.
Well, there again, if I can't blow him up, he's not going to blow him up.
Well, exactly. See,
but next week, I just took delivery of my new Dark Horse Challenger last week. Picked it up in Charlotte, brought it back to New York. So next week, Ryan is coming up to New York, and we're going to be flogging on the dyno all week. We'd seen some differences in between model year 20 and model year 21 software. So we've got to dig through that. He's actually making more progress on the 21 software than we did on the 20 software. So, and last week when I was in Charlotte, we were spinning on my bike on the dyno for about a day, doing some programming, and it's looking good.
Yeah, that's good. That's great news. That's great news.
All right. So what was the big, yes, this is a complicated ECU. It's a complicated motorcycle. It's got more tech on it than ever, but what's been the big rub in getting this thing really dialed in? Just waiting for the part to come out of Indian, or the complexity of it?
So on a programming, yes, the complexity of the programming, as far as releasing, I mean, there's enough time yet. Challenger's been out a little bit over a year, and I know this scenario, there's a lot of wolves out there that are real hungry and want to chomp at anything that's thrown out on the product line for Challenger, but we want to make sure it's right and make sure it's complete, and sometimes that takes a little bit longer, and sometimes, hell, a lot of times we get kicked in the butt too on our scenarios, but we'll get there, and we're going to make some big power gains.
Excellent. There we go. You had something else, Fish. You were thinking about something. There's something going around in your bean. I saw it.
I always have lots of stuff. So right now, what cams do you have on your Challenger, Lloyd?
Well, I haven't. Matter of fact, it's still got the stock exhaust on it. We haven't even swapped anything out on this one yet.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I think that bike's going to wind up being a test subject. You know that, right?
Well, they always do.
Yeah. They always do. Yeah.
Matter of fact, I pulled a GT28 series turbo off the shelf And I'm like, should I or shouldn't I?
Oh, oh, there we go.
So, but we've got to get the. I mean, that's great for me after I'm done playing. But we got to get the programming and the rest of the components nailed down on a combination first before I continue with stupidity.
Well, here's the thing. I want to kind of. I know Fish has got some more questions still, but you're in a position where there's only going to be so much that comes from India. It'll be the cam, the flash, and there's your stage 2. Okay.
Yep.
As long as you have the stage 1 components, that's what you get. Which for a lot of guys, and nobody is throwing stones at any of it, but for a lot of guys, that's plenty. That's all they need. That's all they want. That's suitable. And even Fish and I talked about it when we were out running together. A lot of guys they'll buy the stage 1 pipe because it's made by Indian. They'll buy the cam kit because it's made by Indian. They'll add Indian accessories to their Indian motorcycle. Okay. Big group of those dudes. But there's more that want to say, hey, I really like what this guy's doing, and I'm going to hook up with his stuff when it arrives.
Yeah. And since I did the video, was it Wednesday on the stage 2 cam, unfortunately, we've gotten more calls, probably I'd say upwards of 40 to 50 people that want to make appointments for my cams. Okay. And I don't believe we've actually set an appointment yet for the stage 2 cam.
Okay, I understand.
So, how many cams you got floating around?
What's that?
How many cams you got floating around?
A couple.
Set up in the air. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you tell me? So the SNS cams that Indian's putting out are, people would call them horsepower cams. So they're more in the higher end of the RPM. Right. Some people would call it passing. Some people would call them racing. It would make sense if Tyler O'Hare had his peak high horsepower right by the red line, because that's where he's running. Where do you like to put what kind of cams do you foresee making for the Challenger? What would you do?
My overall opinion on power for a street motor is that you should really never sacrifice low-end power for high-end gains. We're street bikes, and you could put a big thumping cam in there and gain, for instance, a lot more power on the peak and advertise it, hey, I got 24 horsepower, but if you take it down the road and you go to roll on in 5th gear and the thing just feels like you shifted in reverse, right, it's not a good setup.
Yeah.
So, in my opinion, what I always strive for is to never lose the bottom end. But combination is also critical. I mean, you can have a great cam profile, put the wrong exhaust on it, and tank it. So and that's one thing that one of the things that we always do is that I've always designed the cam profile to work with the stock head pipes. And of course, there are some slip-ons that will really screw things up too, for the most part. But what that does is try to guarantee that 99% of the people that you're going to sell a product to end up with a happy ending, so to speak. Yeah. Because nobody wants to spend money on something and feel that they went backwards in a certain area. But combination is definitely critical to that key.
Yeah, we have a comment here. Should guys with the 20 upgrade to the 21 ECU, or is a recall coming? I see the Indian Cam Kit comes with a new ECU for the 2020. So what's the secret there? Because there was issues that these bikes had in the 2020 program where there was stumbling and hard idle issues and a bunch of stuff that never quite worked right until it wasn't widespread, but there was a flash then for it later. Is this the revision now? Or are we looking at something better going forward?
Something better going forward. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, programming is programming. You can change that and adapt it from year to year, but hardware you can't. So I'm going to assume that this is a hardware upgrade inside the ECU that's willing to go the distance.
Sure. Yeah, that makes more sense. Okay. Yeah. And then lending itself to being tunable going forward.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I
You
thought
you,
that,
you mentioned head pipes, and I've heard a bunch of scuttlebutt from performance guys, and people, we all know your opinion, so I want to know your opinion on this, or we'd like to know your opinion. Is these headers coming off the Challenger, and I'm really referring a lot to the Challenger today, but the Challenger, I keep hearing that they're actually really, really, really well done and really hard to improve. Do you agree with that, or do you see we should improve them, or what do you think? He's muted.
oh, did you get muted? Hold on a second. I muted you somehow. There you go. There we go.
Nope, muted again still.
What happened? There, Mike. Oh, your mic fell off. Lloyd, your mic fell out, disconnected. There you go. Check your mic connection. Well, you were asking, what is the question you're posing is what here?
Yeah. So a lot of people are starting to say, hey, you need better headers and this and that. And I've been telling people in all the forums that Indian Motorcycle put out some bomb headers. You really can't improve them. From everything I've heard from people in the industry, I'm nobody, but you're in the industry. So let's rebut that. Are these headers garbage? Do they need to be fixed? Are you coming out with headers too? Or
Absolutely not. No, the stock head pipe on Challenger especially is phenomenal. Let's face it, man. Indian's got some really great engineers behind this.
Yeah.
And Challenger, you think of Challenger now, 2020 model year release as a really great bike.
Yeah.
But it's new and it's a start of the platform. So any start of the platform always starts at a lower level. So what do you think is going to come out with Challenger in the future? And are we going to subject Challenger to major upgrades to be able to, or have to do major upgrades from the aftermarket to take the additional lines that we're going to throw at it in the future?
Yeah.
No, they're going to want to design an exhaust. They're going to want to design an intake. They're going to want to design heads that are capable of taking that horsepower level as it moves up. That's a transition. And, Thunderstroke started as a 111. It's a 116 now. That's just typical. So, the motor itself is a phenomenal motor, and it's got a great head pipe. And no, I agree that there probably will not be anybody that can make a head pipe that's going to beat it and still fit chassis and look aesthetically correct.
Okay.
So
on the back side of that, then where does Rush come in with their new crossover?
Absolutely, yeah. We helped them release their new crossover, and matter of fact, Rush is really interested in working together, and I believe further in their product, and I think that they have the same mindset as we do, is that work together, grow together. And 2-in-1 systems, as far as the head pipes, and that's pretty much, if you pull the slip-ons and the crossover off on a Challenger, that's what you've got is a 2-in-1 pipe. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the misconception on 2-in-1 pipes is, I'm going to throw a 2-in-1 pipe on it and I'm going to end up with more power. No, that's not the case. And as a matter of fact, me and you, Fish, talked about this a little bit before, is that I believe that the biggest base for that thought process is the Harley years.
Yeah.
Indian has seen a lot of new Harley riders come onto the motorcycle, into the brand. And years ago, heck, if you took a Sawzall to a Harley head pipe and cut it off, you'd probably be better off and make more power than it would be in stock form. So if you put any head pipe on, which typically back then it was the Vance and Hines Pro pipe, it was the Thunder header 2-in-1.
Yep.
You made a huge increase in power. It wasn't necessarily because of the design of the 2-in-1, because the 2-in-1 pipe is a designer pipe and it has to be designed in order to fit the components of the motor. It was because the stock system sucked so bad that regardless of what you threw it on, it was going to make it better.
Right. Yeah.
So in Indian world, we don't have that problem.
Well, no, there was so much built-in obsolescence. In fact, it was part of, and we've talked about this in the past, Fish and I have, it was really part of Harley Davidson's, I want to say their business model, that we're going to build these things that have a built-in level of obsolescence or are substandard. And I was always the guy that was looking for the other things, Yes, the chrome is nice. That's wonderful. But I need a different front fork, or I need a different rear suspension, or I need a different tire, or I need something, anything to make the thing ride better. And we never came up against that with the Indian motorcycle. It was pretty much straight out of the box. Go have fun.
Absolutely. Yeah. So Indians putting hurting on us aftermarket guys.
Hey, I got some more questions. I want to talk about intake and stuff like that, but I think we should take a little commercial break.
Yeah, we should take our break, come back and cover that thing. Thank you so much. What else did you want to, what do you got coming up, Fish?
Well, I'm going to ask you about this intake first. Like, we're going to get right to it because there's a lot of questions about this Indian Challenger intake. So let's just leave that there for now.
We'll be right back.
Hey guys, it's Amanda from Indian Motorcycle Charlotte and Lloyd's Garage here. I want to talk to you about our B4 custom bike series. I think there's been a little bit misunderstanding of what they are. I know you guys have seen our pictures all over social media and our website of these badass custom bikes with that custom paint job with the blue and the red in some of them. They're amazing. But it's not just that full package that you see. It's actually like a menu, and you get to pick your own custom package. You're going to start with that menu and say you're really feeling that Dark Horse Chieftain or Roadmaster and you don't want the custom paint job. You don't have to mark it. You can go right down that line. Say you don't want the Arnaut Air Ride and the center stand. It's not really your thing. You don't have to get it. Say you don't want the fat front tire. As badass as it is, it's not everybody's flavor, and we get that. You don't have to get it. Reversely, if you just want the custom paint job and you don't want the performance, which it happens, you can do that, but that is why we do those. And I'm not going to go through the rest of the list because you want Lloyd's exhaust, you want the 126, you want the 1901 floorboards and foot pegs. The rest is a no-brainer. If you guys have more questions, feel free to give me a call, email me. Our number is 704-879-4560.
And there she is, the one. The one and only Amanda Bramble from Indian Motorcycle Charlotte. She's awesome. Fish, come on back here and let's hit the stage now. You want to go where? What direction you headed in with Mr. Greer here?
Well, a lot of people were asking. You were really known for having the best intake on a lot of the victories, and the intake. People question this Indian intake a lot. The upgraded intake on the Challenger. What do you think about it? What's your thoughts on it? And do you have something in the future?
Well, let me ask you this. What are they questioning on it?
So I think that, right, I'm not going to speak for everybody else. So I'll just say like what my kind of cautionary thoughts are. And I have the stage 1 on it. So we know it has like a ported holes in the 3 behind the wheel. Mm-hmm. And then it adds kind of another intake on the side, which has a real hard 90-degree angle back into the frame, right? Which then it enters all together going into where the airbox would be Have I said that right? It
Yeah.
just seems like there may be a better way of getting air to the air box than that 90-degree turn. I don't know. Let's leave it there. What do you think? So that's what I'm starting you off with. And as a performance guy, what do you think?
So on one of the hard problems on when you're making your frame, your air box, is that you're trying to, I guess, tip the scales of volume versus structural integrity versus gas tank size. Because the bigger you make your airframe, of course, the bigger or the smaller you get to make your gas tank.
Yeah.
So, Challenger, I think, is probably a little bit undersized on the airbox, but we've got a 6+ gallon gas tank. So, which way do we want to go with it? As far as the performance side, it's tough. It's a hard thing to work with. I had seen on my bike, 5 or 4 to 5 horsepower roughly on the intake and the intake.
Right.
So, is it worth the money? Well, of course, it's a step in the right direction. The other challenge is, of course, the filter size and the filter, where the filter is and how it mounts, and none of it is easy. So it's a tough solution for sure.
Okay. So is there a Lloyd's airbox, air filter, anything coming?
Yes, there is, but probably not this spring or summer.
Pacing yourself. Yeah, pacing
Yeah.
yourself. Okay, so that leads us to so many things that are okay, so all these things that Indian has worked on, those are kind of the things that people wanted right in the short haul. They wanted more performance. They wanted some of these things right now. You're looking at it, though, a little more long term, much like you did with the 111, with the 116, is if I'm going to do these things, what's my next upgrade beyond that? Is that what I'm hearing?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
I'm
Because I mean, if ideally, if Indian comes out with X product that makes a certain percentage of horsepower, well, then I want to come out with a product that's going to make a lot more than that, because that's what helps me sell my product.
Right.
I mean, I'm fighting against a really good marketing giant, so to speak, with a great dealer, portal across the world.
Right.
Well, their engineers we have been saying already a bunch of times, Indian doesn't put out garbage products. So, the fact that, it might take you another year to get a good design, but I think most people want you to focus on that ECU and those cams.
And them cams. Oh,
and
my
then,
God.
and
I
then
had a dollar for every
all right.
taken for over the last year on cams, So.
You mean I wasn't the first person to ask that question if you're coming out with cams?
Oh my God. It's just, yeah.
What about that speed limiter, boss? Are you going to get rid of that anytime soon or what?
Get a t-shirt made, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
I'm going to do this. We got a question that I think let's take a stab at this. It's okay. Chris Frank's joining us. I just had the stage 1 air intake and flash done. It seems as though first gear lost a bit of the power. Second, third, fourth seem to have gained enough to be noticeable for sure. When an aftermarket flash finally gets released, is it going to take it more? Is it going to improve it more?
Absolutely. Yeah. One of the things that I believe occurs with the stage 1 flashes is a little bit of an overcompensation on the leanness. And typically a lot of people, that's the exact complaint we've been hearing for the last 15 years on flashes. Matter of fact, even more.
Yeah.
Hey, I noticed a little bit here, but I also noticed I lost a little bit there. So the design criteria, and like I say, they're held within a box that they have to stay within to meet certain design and EPA criteria.
Sure.
And I'm not. So therefore, we can, when we come out with a product, typically it's to maximize the performance potential of the motorcycle. Period.
I actually got when I put the Power Commander 5 just for some fueling. These bikes are so lean, and I have the Cat Delete 2-to-1 on mine. I gained some pretty good significant numbers just adding some fuel to it, and I was fairly surprised by that actually. Are you seeing the same thing too? I mean,
truthfully not.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. And I guess so one of the things that typically you're on a rich side on wide open throttle, and they do that for many reasons, but as far as fueling, and here's the other thing too, is the Bosch system is really, really good adaptive fueling system. So, as far as fueling wise, we really haven't seen that type of scenario. It comes in, definitely timing is a big benefit to Challenger. They're severely retarded and throwing some timing at it, just like the Victories. I mean, we'd throw 10, 12 degrees at a Victory and it just kept responding. So, but it's and I know you, Fish, you're like the wolf. You were hungry, man. You wanted to get something on there.
Hey, I didn't. The canned tune didn't work very well. It was kind of customized and added, and there was points on that. I think I showed you, Curtis. There was some points where I gained like 8 horsepower in some spots and stuff.
Right. So now, and just to add to that, what I'm starting off with is most of the time I'm testing in stock form and going up as opposed to stage 1 and going up. Yeah. And you might be correct, absolutely. And if you had a stage 1 and did a stage 1 flash and then and then tuned afterwards, yes, you probably would see a gain.
Yeah. I mean, and like I said, even on that, I have the Cat Delete already, and so it was ready to push some stuff around. So
right.
Yeah, and so it was interesting because what was it? I actually lost a little bit of power from when I went to stage 1, then the Cat Delete, and I compared it to a buddy of mine that still had his catalytic converter on the same dyno on the same day, rocking it out, and he had just a tad bit more than me, which was an interesting. It was interesting, right? Because you're like, oh, you get rid of some of this, it should be good. 2-to-1, no Cat's way better. And actually, I lost a little. But adding
that's a misconception that has occurred from the 70s, and it still isn't debunked yet. And today's cats, you will not. I mean, I build a lot of just about all my bikes are over 200 horsepower. We pull the cats out, and we see 0 gains. Cats are not restrictive nowadays. But one thing that you do when you pull the cat off on a Challenger, especially, is you get rid of this volume that's in an exhaust.
But you also eliminate some reversion too, and you don't get the kind of back pressure that the thing was originally designed for. Yes, I mean, I know that it compensates for that cat being there.
Well, absolutely, yeah, and engineering compensated for that when they designed them.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree with that. One thing that cats typically will do will straighten out the airflow, and take a turbulent airflow and straighten it out due to the honeycomb design on them. So and because they're not restrictive, sometimes they do help.
So maybe that's why I got such a big bump with just adding some fuel.
Well, yes. But what frustrated you earlier, Fish, and what we've heard a million guys talk about online for the last year, is these other performance companies that are working on tunes for these things, right? And I'm going to get to your remote tuning here in a minute, Lloyd, but these guys are sending off stuff, getting these tunes based on wherever that guy is located. I live at 6,100 feet above sea level. You think that my bike doesn't lean out every time I look at it wrong? It just, things aren't right there. So I mean, it's a different breed of cat everywhere you look, because there is no universal answer. That's why these are these learning ECUs. So we had firsthand experience with on the test ride.
Yeah. Yeah, the test ride was an interesting, because your bike was so messed up for about a day, a
Yeah.
whole day of riding, and then by the last day it was about what 90% normal. I mean 95% because we were cooking
Yeah.
down the highway at California speeds, speed limiter speeds.
Right.
So and it was just fine.
And that's why, Lloyd, when I wanted to ask you about it too, about going back to the 116, is I expected that thing to have more of a punch in it too when I first rode it again. It'd been a little while since I'd been in one. So I got on this bike and I thought it would have a little bit more of that raw punch. No, it was that long linear power delivery. It was there, no matter where I was. Didn't matter if I was in third, fourth gear, fifth, didn't matter. It was there as soon as I rolled it on. That did impress me. Because with the 111, and all I've done on mine is an intake and a true dual exhaust and pipe. That's all it is, and the tune. There's places in the power curve where it flattens out a little bit, and I don't get as much oomph as I want.
Yeah, and on 116s, I think we're actually picking up 9 to 10 horsepower in a completely stock form with just our tune.
Oh
yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah,
sure. Dude, the tuning is such a big deal. I mean, it's crazy how you could take like you said, a perfectly stock bike and you get rid of some of the EPA arm twists that they got and you let the motor run how it was really built to run. Yeah, it's incredible the amount of gains that just a tune will do.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I've always been a huge person to say, get your bike tuned. It's better. It is better.
Let me add to that. Get it tuned by the right people.
Okay.
And that leads me to my next point is that, guys, I don't think Lloyd understand this remote tuning thing of yours. I mean, there's dealers out there that offer it, that want to be a part of it, dig it, they like what you got to offer, but I don't think the consumer's got his head all the way around that yet.
So I guess in a nutshell, so one of the hardest problems in the motorcycle industry is to get someone that knows engines and someone that knows tuning, combine them together to produce the best result.
Yeah.
So what you've got is with us is that, I think I have a pretty good understanding on engines and I've got a pretty good understanding on tuning, and combined with, our techs that we have, and Ryan in the remote tuning process, I'd almost guarantee there isn't anybody that can make a tune that will beat our tunes. I don't care who it is. They're not going to beat it. We have the best tunes out there, period. So it's a really simple process. One of the things that I want to do with my product line from Lloyd's Motorworks is to exclusively offer them to Indian dealers. And with that, the mindset, work together, grow together. I want to push customers to the Indian dealer. They should be the best suited, the most trained, and the most capable people of giving the consumer exactly what they need. Now, sometimes they don't have the knowledge base or the equipment to think that they can perform the job. Well, that's where we come into play with the remote tuning. You don't need the dyno. You don't need someone that knows about tuning, that knows about engines. All you need is someone that can work a laptop and ride a motorcycle, and we take care of the rest. And it comes with 100% satisfaction guaranteed on your tune. Yep. And if you're not completely floored after we get done, then apparently we did not do our job.
There you go. But now, with that tune coming for Jason, is that one that was developed before the cam kits were for Jason DeMent and Brave Wolf, the Lilith Challenger? Is that the one? Is he just getting the tunes? Is he doing the cam kit as well? I guess is what I'm asking.
So from the last I'm aware of, he wants to wait for our cams to come out.
Okay.
So that will, and every bike gets tuned individually to that bike.
Okay.
So one of the things is that sometimes, like with Challenger or not Challenger, with FTR and Scout, we can offer quote unquote a can tune, and it'll, for probably 95% of the bikes, it's going to work really, really well. The air-cooled bikes, it's not the case. Each one of them really needs to have its own specific tune. And that's where the remote tune process comes in, is that we actually tune to the individual bike's needs and not just throw a canned tune out there.
I thought when you were saying that, I'm glad you clarified that, because I thought you were throwing canned tunes out there. And I've always been a person that's like, dude, there's nothing better than a custom tune. If you live in Florida, if you live in Florida, probably get your bike tuned in Florida when Lloyd goes down there or whoever goes. I've always been a big that, because Curtis, I mean, somebody throws him a can tune from Southern California below sea level. How's that going to run for him?
Well, there's a guy making this point right here. Curtis, Indian is load based. If your Lloyd's tunes your bike, it'll run as well as it can if you're on the moon or underwater.
Oh, that's Ryan.
I was just going to say,
that's my tune boy right there.
Yeah, everybody knows needs to know we got Ryan and Tim in here, so be careful. They're watching you. They're probably
Timmy's watching. I better watch what I say. No, Ryan is 100% right. So one of the biggest things with the Bosch systems is they are very load based systems. So therefore they're also very load sensitive, and the dyno is never going to produce the same load that the bike sees on the road with the rider or riders. So therefore I tried for 2 years. I mean, I consider myself a pretty damn good tuner, and you cannot not tune the CX or Power Visions on the dyno and get great results. You have to tune them by riding them, sampling them, and creating a tune specifically for that bike. And that's the remote tuning process, is that the technician with our remote tuning centers will ride your bike, log the data, send it to Ryan. Ryan will start composing an actual tune log and file for that specific bike. So when it's done, it's to the needs of that actual motorcycle. And that is the best result.
Go ahead.
I'm so glad that we clarified that, because I think that maybe people weren't thinking. I wasn't. I was like, he's just selling can tunes, and I'm gonna text his ass after I get off right now. And
we don't like to sell can tunes.
Okay.
With Scout and FTR, because they are liquid cooled and the consistencies are definitely a lot better. Mm-hmm. You, like I say, you can get away with a can tuned, as opposed to the air cooled. Now, Challenger, we still haven't put our feelers out on Challenger, whether that's going to fall in the same process or not. So basically, if my name's behind it, I got to stick. I've got a great reputation, and unfortunately, you can't buy a reputation. So I got to make sure it always works and works better than everybody else. So with that, if Challenger is going to require a specific tune per bike, then that's what we're going to offer. If we can get really great satisfaction with taking 10 bikes and getting great results out of the same tune out of 10 bikes with the same combination, okay, then we'll open it up to a quote unquote can tune. Yeah. But it, like I say, we're still out for analysis on that one.
Right. But consistency being what it is in a liquid cooled motor, you should be able to dial that pretty close. I mean, you're going to be within the red dot someplace. I think so. Yeah. I don't think that could be that far off.
We're hoping. Okay. We're hoping.
Yeah, that makes sense.
One thing that also adds to it is that the, for instance, head flow data and head port consistencies are definitely a lot better on what we see on Challenger than, say, Thunderstroke. Right. So with that, you get a lot more consistency, like sport bike related stuff.
Yeah. Have you seen the head flow data on these new 21 Thunderstrokes? Because they changed the flow a little, right? Am I right about that?
Yes.
Have you seen a drastic change, or
Yeah, there actually is a change in actual measured airflow data, but it doesn't really pertain to rear wheel horsepower in the levels that we're dealing with right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's grab Chuck's question while we're right here. Where are your remote tuning things available? Is the list on the website? I think if you go there, you can search or you can call and ask. Yes.
Do we got a website we could drop or scroll?
I believe they should be
Yeah, we got
on lloydsgarage.com.
Yeah.
If not, absolutely call Indian Motorcycle Charlotte and we'll point you in the right direction. I know that I'm bad for, I don't even know what's on my own website. So sometimes I'm bad at that, but there should be absolutely, I believe there's a list out there. And by all means, if your dealer is not on the list, you should ask them to consider being on the list and calling and setting up, because it's what the customer wants. And we just have to get the dealers to offer it.
But would it okay, maybe I'm being naive here. Okay, maybe I'm being naive. But if you have something that's supposed to work, is relatively easy to use and satisfies the customer, what's the challenge? I mean, I don't know why dealers would be struggling with that idea. If it's something,
believe it or not, some of I don't have all the answers. Some dealers see us as competition. Some dealers don't like us. Some dealers don't like performance. I don't get it. If your customer wants something or if your customer base, not just one particular customer, but if your customer base is looking to have something done, then I think that as a dealer, you should go and try to strive to achieve it. And like I say, we offer our services, we offer free training. You have to buy a small onset of, laptop and sensors and stuff to get set up as remote tuning, but it's relatively small cost for the amount of capability that you have, and you're dealing with the best name in the business.
there you go.
I was lucky this summer that I did a thing where I went to a bunch of different dealerships, and I called them a spotlight, but I showed maybe what was really good or what was different about those dealers. And I was very lucky. I went by recommendations, right? So people that reached out to me and says, "Hey dude, my home dealer is awesome," whatever dealer it was. But I have went into a few dealerships where teamwork, I don't think, was one of their bulletins.
Was one of the stronger suits. Yeah, that
yeah,
happened.
and it was really interesting. I got really lucky with the guys that I went to. And I haven't made my way east because you guys are next or on the list. But it was really interesting when I did go to some of these, and there's some close to home that I have here that are not team players at all.
Yeah, and that's the biggest problem, I think, in the industry itself. And one of the things that we do, me and Tim do, is that we did it twice last year. We were hoping to do it quarterly, but COVID kind of kicked us in the butt again. But what we do is we have our own dealer council meeting. And last March, we had a dozen dealers show up at Indian Motorcycle Charlotte to sit down. Most of the dealers were in our region, but we had dealers from Texas. We had dealers from New Jersey, Ohio. And they come, sit down with us, and we just go through, hey, how can we work together to build this brand, to build this product up? And, some of the conversations are just mind blowing, and we're not stealing business from each other. Yeah. Sometimes you're going to lose a sale to your guy next door, but sometimes he's going to lose a sale to you. It goes back and forth. But the ultimate thing is we need to work together to grow the brand. And I don't understand why some of these dealers segregate other dealers from that occurring.
Yeah. I went down to Indian Motorcycle of Little Rock where Rob Gregory is. Yeah. And dude, team player, he goes, dude, I have so many parts in house all the time. I mail them to other dealers often when they need them.
Yeah, Rob and his crew are awesome people.
Oh my God, it was incredible. And you know why I did that was we're used to seeing a Harley Davidson dealership on every corner. And so there's a lot of guys that said, dude, there's just not enough Indian dealers around here. I have to pass 3 Harley guys on the way to the Indian dealer. It's too far for me. And I'm like, well, one, hopefully you won't have to go there very often unless you want to. Then it gives you a destination, you know, and two, we have some really good dealers. And so then I started spotlighting, you know, and I did a lot of work at Bison Thunder here in St. Paul. And then I went down to Rob Gregory, and then I went down to Pikes Peak, and then I went out to California. I've been very lucky to meet these guys. But my point to everybody was, dude, there's some really good dealers. And it's unfortunate when our customers, and I say our customers as just generalized Indian motorcycle, people that could buy an Indian motorcycle, they're turned off by they think they have to drive too far. And then when they do get in there, they get a non-team player. That's frustrating.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, your mic's giving you a grief again. Let's try that. No, your mic's disconnected.
He tried to mute me, probably.
How about that? We're back online.
Yeah, now you're good. Well,
so
yeah,
I've called a dealer friend of mine in New Jersey and said, hey, listen, I got a guy that wants to test ride a bike. Then I'm going to sell him in Charlotte. Do you mind if he comes and test rides your bike? He's like, Lloyd, send him. No problem.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's a team player.
Yeah.
So he's going to go test ride another dealer's bike and buy one from me.
Yeah.
And he's perfectly okay with it.
Yeah, because if
That's
he's smart,
how it works.
well,
Right.
if he's smart, when he gets back home, he's going to go back to that dealer for his services. He's going to go back to that dealer for his t-shirts. You know, I mean,
yeah,
you can't turn off a customer. It just doesn't.
No.
It just is such a bitter taste anyway.
But one of the things that you're challenged with across the board is that a lot of dealers are really struggle with the idea of doing performance work. They see that as adding, you know, what if the bike breaks? They add liability. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do this. But Lloyd, with you developing the product, I mean, this is the guy who's involved with it. You are firsthand connected to it, so the risk is minimal.
Right. And, you know, there's always a risk in everything you do, whether you're walking across the street or whether you're doing a high performance work. Right. You know, we'd like to take and minimize the risk of every aspect of it. And, you know, the bottom line is if I screw something up, well, I want to make good on it, you know, and that's the bottom line. If Indian screws something up, they make good on it. If I screw something up, I make good on it.
Do you normally offer like warranties and stuff like that with for example, we'll say like cams and stuff like that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, our cams come with a lifetime guarantee. You know, 20 years from now, if you broke a cam, I'm gonna swap it out, you know.
Yeah.
But that's you know, one of the things too is you need a really good vendor. And you need to trust your vendor's quality control to offer something like that. But we never really have cam problems, you know, excluding the valve spring issue, which isn't a cam problem. It's a valve spring issue that Thunderstroke was experiencing. I don't know if we've really ever had a legitimate Thunderstroke cam issue.
Yeah.
For warranty.
Yeah, you know, but that's everybody. We had a guy earlier today, I believe it was Ben, was just saying, you know, what about warranties if I get your cam? So that's why I wanted to make sure to bring that up.
Okay.
Let me go back here. I think I have his comment here someplace. But yeah, he was asking about warranty and being able to do something with that. And it is where.
Yeah, matter of fact, we send a warranty card in every set of cams. Yeah. And truthfully, they don't even need to fill it out. I mean,
I was just going to say, you know, you never keep that shit. You know how many times it says register here, register there?
Yeah, you know.
And you keep your receipt? No, you throw it. And then you go to the store. Hey, I got to return this. You got your receipt. Shit, it's.
The bottom line is that, you know, like I say, reputation isn't bought. And sometimes it actually costs money, and it normally costs me money. But like I say, if it's broken, it's our problem, then we're going to stand behind it, you know?
Yeah.
So,
and keep in mind, Ben, when you ask that question about warranties, is that the only time that something like that really comes into play is if your extended warranty company specifically says, no, you can't do something, or if anything you do to the motorcycle can then be scientifically proven to have caused whatever subsequent problem happened. So don't worry about warranties. Those guys have got that
Right.
figured.
If you put my cams in it and your radio goes bad, Indian should cover your radio.
Yeah, you didn't kill a
Yeah.
radio.
Oh, man.
And by all means, if the cam breaks in half, then you call me and I make good on that.
Right.
So,
all right. Well, what else do we need to know about this cam kit though that's available now? We got this 10% bump. It's supposed to be flashable and ready to go. So is this, albeit maybe an expensive option, is it a good one for most riders?
well, what we're going to do is once our first set of cams come in, we're going to chuck them in a bike. We're going to baseline the bike. We're going to chuck a set of cams in. We're going to do the download, and we're going to do some before and after results for everybody.
Okay.
No. Second thing you do. First thing you just send it to Fish.
Well, the problem is that Fish lives so far away from North Carolina.
Yeah, but
In order to get recordable and accurate data,
You need me to come to you, is what you're saying.
yes. I mean, you do nothing
Me
but
and
talk on
Jason.
the radio and do videos, so you've got all the time in the world.
True. No.
let's answer this question one more time. And John's bringing it back up. John, maybe it's been asked earlier as I'm late to the podcast regarding cams between the 2021 and the 2020 Challengers. Are there any differences in designs?
No, not on the cam profile. No.
I think the difference that people, I think that the thing that people were missing, because there's two different part numbers for the packaging, and I believe it comes with the ECU differences is what it is.
Yep.
Yes.
Because you order one set for the 2020s, one set for the 2021s, and the 2020s have a different ECU, like we had talked about earlier.
Right.
So that's why, if anybody wonders why the part numbers are different, why it's two different cams, it's not exactly two different cams. It's the ECU stuff that comes with the different years.
Correct.
Okay, cool. We got that.
Casey wants to know what you're doing if you're headed to Daytona. That's still a lot of that's still up in the air down there. They're still figuring that out if they're going to do the rally, aren't they? They haven't got 110% in on that.
From what I've heard is that Daytona has at least given out their parking vendors.
Yes. Yeah. Vendor permits have been handed out. Yes.
Yep. And of course, the governor says we're not closing down anymore. So I'm going to take it as let's roll.
We'll see you there.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can get some data off my bike in Daytona.
Yeah.
We can do that.
All right. So this is really exciting. Now, I know that you don't have a hard, fast timeline, and no one's going to hold you anything because back orders, COVID, and all the other nonsense. But I think you mentioned in one video that you could be 3, 4, maybe months out getting these things, your product out to market.
As far as cams,
Yeah.
I'd like to see us have this wrapped up in 2 to 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's a fair
Yeah.
push.
I think you can go with that. Anything else you want to add, Lloyd? Because you've got so many things going on with the B4 bikes, the Sturgis whole thing, the 116 kit killing it. Now, where are we taking 116 to 126? Is that what I understand? We're going to
126. Yeah. And we've got some surprises coming out with that also.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Tim's going to be my guinea pig on that one.
Good. Good.
Yeah.
Right. Now, I really need to know before I let you guys go here, because I think we're going to get ready to wrap it up. We've been here about 90 minutes. We're going to get ready to put an end to it. But I wanted to ask you guys, have you been shopping the 70s clothes at Goodwill lately? Or are we just going to do that one time down the highway?
Yeah, I think just one time. I mean, it was fun, but oh my God, it brought back some memories, and I had some problems with my bike, so I was sitting there blowing in the vent line for a couple hours straight just to make sure I had enough fuel to keep going. But we're going to come up with something cool. I'm sure that we haven't had anything for Daytona on a challenge or something yet, but we're going to do something.
Good. Well, I'm going to leave you with this thought. If you don't have a Lloyd's big bore kit, you probably should. And if we don't see a Lloyd's KOTB or King of the Baggers entry, I think there's something fishy. That's what I'm just saying. I'm just saying that out loud. I think,
or that we ran out of time.
or that you ran out of time. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll take that. All right.
It's funny because I just told Amanda if you do another ride your junk, I'll sign up for it. So I'm glad you got me out of that commitment right off the bat.
Yep. I think we got to stick to some new bikes on the next couple of runs anyway.
There you go. Well, guys, we're gonna come back and wrap it up right after this. Stick around. More with Lloyd Greer, Indian Rider Radio After Hours. Curtis Sawyer, Ridingfish, and you don't go away.
Hey guys, it's Amanda from Indian Motorcycle Charlotte and Lloyd's Garage here. I want to talk to you about our B4 custom bike series. I think there's been a little bit misunderstanding of what they are. I know you guys have seen our pictures all over social media and our website of these badass custom bikes with that custom paint job with the blue and the red in some of them. They're amazing. But it's not just that full package that you see. It's actually like a menu, and you get to pick your own custom package. You're gonna start with that menu and say you're really feeling that Dark Horse Chieftain or Roadmaster and you don't want the custom paint job. You don't have to mark it. You can go right down that line. Say you don't want the Arnaut Air Ride and the center stand. It's not really your thing. You don't have to get it. Say you don't want the fat front tire. As badass as it is, it's not everybody's flavor, and we get that. You don't have to get it. Reversely, if you just want the custom paint job and you don't want the performance, which it happens, you can do that. But that is why we do those. And I'm not going to go through the rest of the list because you want Lloyd's exhaust. You want the 126. You want the 1901 floorboards and foot pegs. The rest is a no-brainer. If you guys have more questions, feel free to give me a call, email me. Our number is 704-879-4560.
You know, I've said it right along. I think that the train in the background of that video is what really sets it apart. There was an obvious train coming through, and poor Amanda is sitting back there in the parts department, folding table as her set. Girl's strong. She's tough.
Hashtag company girl. Yeah, she is phenomenal. Yeah. Matter of fact, we don't even have to point her in a direction. She already knows where she's going and what she needs to do.
Yeah. Yep. There's not enough of those. Well, Lloyd, thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you for your support for Indian Rider Radio, the podcast, and helping all of us out. I know Jason Dement's excited to get up there and see you. I know that Fish has got big plans for his bikes. And maybe, just maybe out of nowhere, I might have to turn my 19 Elite into something a little more muscular. Let's put it that way.
There's no going back once you do.
I was afraid of that. Yeah. They told me about a lot of things, Lloyd. They've told me that about a lot of things.
Yeah. They're the best rabbit holes ever that we all fall into.
Exactly. And I appreciate you guys having me on.
Well,
let's do it again.
Yeah.
It was fun. I'd love to do it again, have you on. Yeah. We know I just bought an FTR, so play FTR stuff and talk to you about that someday. And
well, you got to get a hold of Ryan and get a tune for that thing.
Yeah. Yep. Well, we're working on it. Ryan, okay. You can find me. And then, other than that, well, when we start getting dates out, we'll definitely get some more specific Lloyd Cam talk. Sound good?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll get our results on the stage 2 and get them out there for everybody to see. And hey, you know what? If it wasn't for the world's best customers, we wouldn't all be here. So I just want to thank all the customers out there and all the support we get from our people.
Well, we appreciate you, Lloyd. Ridingfish, thanks for dropping in this week again and doing After Hours with us. Lloyd Greer, Indian Motorcycle Charlotte, and Lloyd's Garage, and Indian Rider Radio is now powered by those very same guys. Lloyd, take care. We'll catch you on the road. And as I always say, guys, you know how it works. Check out the Indian Rider Radio podcast. It's going to be hanging. You want in on this, Fish?
No, go for it, boss. Do it. Do your thing. IndianRiderRadio.com podcast. There's a new one coming out this weekend that has some pretty cool stuff coming out, right? This weekend you got it coming?
Yeah, pretty cool stuff every week. That's what I do. It's pretty
and
cool.
Then on top of that,
week after week.
On top of that, you can find me on where am I? YouTube, Instagram, all this stuff. Ridingfish, one word, you can find it. Until then, like Curtis always says, I'll see you on the road.